Hi everyone, it's Grandma and Auntie, and today I'm going to read you a story. And I'm hoping that this story, even though we're not together on Christmas, will be something that we can share together from now until forever, because it's going to be on video. It's called The Spider Who Saved Christmas. And it's such a cool story. And we've kind of moved all over the countryside, and we're not going to be together this year, so I'm putting it on video. But the way I got this video was from my Aunt Linda. She sent me this book thinking that it would be something really cool for me to read to you kids every year. But of course, since we've moved, I can't be there in person to read it, so I'm going to do a video. But she sent me a note with a book, and I want to read it to you so you'll know how I got this book. Dear Dawn and great nieces and nephews, I'm giving your grandma a book I received from my son Brian in Christmas of 2020. I asked for this book even though I was 72 years old at the time. I loved it. I know you will too. So I want to share and pass it down to your grandma, and perhaps a tradition that she will read it for you every Christmas. Love, great Aunt Linda and Brian, your third cousin. So it's a very special story, and thank you, Aunt Linda, for thinking of us and sending it to us. The book talks about King Herod, and you can find that in the Bible in Matthew 2:16 through 18. It's a pretty traumatic story, but it is the truth of what happened to the possibility of baby Jesus. And I just wanted you to have that scripture. So let me see, did I mention that I want you to get your envelope that I sent you in the mail and have it nearby for the end of the story? Are you ready? Okay. The Spider That Saved Christmas. Let's start off right away. I hate spiders. I hate spiders. Did I mention I hate spiders? Spider webs. In the days of Herod, the king of Judea, Mary, her husband Joseph, and the baby Jesus fled Bethlehem by night, bound for the land of Egypt. Weary from their journey, they sought refuge in the caverns of the hill country. And as they entered a cave, behold, a great spider trembled at the child's cry. The sound vibrated through her golden web, filling Nephilah with wonder. She scampered to the corner of the silk where a sack of eggs her future hung, which means baby spiders. They were safe, swaddled in the golden strands she had spent hours knitting about them. She peered down at the fascinating strangers below. Yeah, there's the spider. There's Nephilah. The woman, cradling the babe in her mantle, reclined beneath Nephilah's silken canopy. The man with kind eyes lifted his lantern, staring into the darkness outside the cave. "We can't stay here, Mary," he said in a soft voice. "Herod's men are coming." For he had been warned in a dream that King Herod sought to destroy the child. "Jesus won't be safe until we reach Egypt." Mary nodded gently, kissing the head of her babe. "Fear not, Joseph." Nephila dropped on a line of webbing to get a closer look at the child, who seemed to glow with his own radiance. Joseph's eyes turned hard when he spotted the dangling visitor above Mary. "Be still! There are spiders!" he spat out. I would have run. I wouldn't have just said that, but he slashed at Nephila with his staff. As he recoiled, Joseph ran his staff through the web, ripping 2 of the main lines. The golden-backed spider retreated into the shadows and laid her body protectively over her sack of children. "Leave it, Joseph," Mary said. "They are dangerous." He lifted the lantern, seeking the spider lurking in the dark. As he raised his staff to strike the spider and clear what was left of the webbing, Mary took hold of the rod. "All are here for a reason. Let it be." I would have done what he did. Actually, I would have just run away, I think. Now, at the hum of the woman's voice, Nephila relaxed but dared not leave the shadows. She rubbed her 2 front legs together, wondering how she would ever repair the shredded web. "Rest, Joseph." Mary patted the ground beside her. Joseph lay next to the child and threw his cloak over the 3 of them. And behold, wails of anguish and the final cries of babies floated through the night. She's telling Joseph, "Just lay down and relax. It'll be okay." Nephila stiffened at the sound of the wails on the wind. "Poor children," Joseph said. "The soldiers are close." "Dim the light," Mary whispered. "I am sorry we're in this horrible place," he told her, snuffing out the lantern light. "We are so exposed." "It is where we are meant to be. There is beauty even here." She looked up at Nephila's web, touching Joseph's hand, and love. "Pray for our safety," he said, closing his eyes. Mary lightly moved her lips. Only the faraway shrieks disturbed the cave's silence. Nephila moved to the tattered edge of her silk. Taking advantage of the stillness, she began to spin a new web. How could she ever reattach the ripped drape to the faraway wall? It would take hours, days perhaps. A shaft of moonlight suddenly cut into the cave. As Nephila turned toward the light, a warm gust carrying the sweet scent of berries blew over her. It swirled around the cavern, and she felt herself rising slightly. The wispy main lines of her web floated up to the ceiling and stretched to the far wall of the cave as if they had never been disturbed. Because remember, Joseph knocked them down. The spider warily walked the length of the silk to the far cave wall, testing the strength of the new lines. There she's walking. Suddenly, the child below cried, sending a vibration through the web. Nephila's egg sac leapt and rippled to the sound. The spider stared down at the child, this Jesus. Never had she felt such a sensation. She instantly understood what she had to do. At the center of her web, she plucked the strings, playing a tune only spiders could hear. From deep within the crevice of the cave, Nephila's older children scuttled forward by the dozens. Each heard its mother's call and followed her to the cave opening. Nephila hung upside down from the cave's mouth and descended on a thick golden line until she reached the floor. She then climbed to the corners of the opening and repeatedly fluttered across the center line, leaving a trail of golden thread behind her. Her framework completed, she plucked on the center strand. At the sound, her children sprang into action, dropping cords of web, weaving their golden silk in a frantic, rhythmic dance. You see all her children hanging down and spinning the webs. Now, when it was daybreak and the spider's work was done, the cave mouth wore a golden veil of webbing, sealing it completely. So now, the place where Mary and Joseph and baby Jesus came through the cave was now completely covered in the spider web. Nephila's children returned to the darkness and their personal webs, but not Nephila. Despite the frost dotting the golden curtain, she rested on the outside at the very center of the web. She's outside of the cave on the web. And it came to pass that Nephila felt the approach of 3 soldiers climbing the hillside. They carried blood-slicked swords and spoke in loud, crude voices. "You two get up there and inspect the cave," one soldier yelled. "Why would a boy be in a cave?" "You have your orders. Inspect every dwelling and kill every boy under 2, especially the newborns. That was Herod's command. Go!" A pair of soldiers clambered up to the cave. The yelling and clanging of the armor woke Joseph, though Mary and Jesus did not stir. In silence, Joseph fetched his staff and held it high, ready to defend his family. The golden screen blocking the outside world puzzled him. On its thick gauze, he observed the shadows of 2 huge soldiers, one waving a sword. Joseph tightened his grip on the staff. Outside, the sunlight caused the frosted cobweb to glimmer and sparkle. Nephila wished to return to the shadowy recesses of the cave. She felt so exposed sitting in the daylight, but the child had clearly told her to spin a web over the entranceway and remain there. "What should we do?" one of the soldiers whispered. "Considering the spider's handiwork, no one entered this cave, or the web would be broken." "You're right." The soldier glared at Nephila, whose legs were pulsing. "There is no newborn in there, except maybe newborn spiders." Excuse me. "That thing looks ready to pounce," the other soldier said, shivering for an instant. "I hate spiders. Forget it. Let's go." "Everything is clear up here, Commander," one of them yelled, and they retreated, running down the hill. Inside the cave, Joseph lowered his staff and fell against the rocky wall, giving thanks for their safety. Nephila watched the soldiers leave, and after a long while, she began to bow on the strings of her web. The light melody awakened Mary. "Joseph, from where is that music coming?" "I hear nothing," he said. Mary marveled at the gossamer gauze and the shadow of Nephilah illuminated by the sun. "Isn't it beautiful?" "Soldiers came as you slept. The spider saved Jesus and us," Joseph said, staring at the web. "Yes, all are here for a reason." Mary looked lovingly at her son and nodded off to sleep. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph remained in the cave another day before taking their leave. They pulled back a piece of Nephilah's golden curtain to pass from the cave, and the child's hand grazed the web as they hastened to Egypt. And it came to pass that Nephilah withdrew to the cave, where she tenderly embraced her egg sac until the last of her spiderlings came forth. Soon after, she repaired the golden curtain at the entryway and spent her days at its center. Basking in the sunlight, she awaited the return of the child with a sweet cry she could never forget. Even today, golden silk orb weavers, the children of Nephilah, can be found on their webs in the sun, waiting, and theirs is considered the most precious of all spiders' silk. Okay, now I want you to open up your envelopes, and you each have a little envelope inside of that I want you to get out. And I'm going to read to you why I sent that. Nephilah's gift to the Christ child is remembered in the sparkling tinsel that drips from evergreens all over the world at Christmas time. Poles, Ukrainians, and other Eastern Europeans have a tradition of placing spider ornaments on Christmas trees to commemorate the spider that saved Christmas. So next time you see some twinkling tinsel or a spider ornament lurking in a tree branch, think of Nephilah, who, though small and feared, met divinity and reflected his light as only she could. Like each of us, she was there for a reason. And all of you are here for a reason. There are no mistakes. God makes no mistakes. So, get your spider ornament. If you want, you can put your name on the back of it. And golden tinsel, and you can hang that on the tree each year and as you watch this video. And even though we're not nearby, at least this year, hopefully in years to come, we will all have this memory today of how the spider saved Christmas. I love you all so much. I'm praying for you. I'm praying God's blessings on you, and I love you.